Hey everyone, this is Roxor. Today we are gonna use our DE2 train to move a few cars a little bit to the south. I have already scoped out one of the offers that I could take, and that is because I don't have too many licenses, this one here. So we are just gonna go from the goods factory, which we do have this little red pin I can set in the map, to the food factory and town, and those are 3 cards. No, correction, those are 4 cards that we wanna drive down there. So first of all, first order of business, as you know, we have to accept the delivery order to get more details. So time is running now, and I'm just taking a peek what I should pick up and where I should pick it up. And funnily enough, the D20 is actually quite close to the other track where I delivered my other train from the video beforehand, where we kind of tried to understand how this thing works, because again, I'm very new to this game and I on purpose didn't try to get into any tutorials just to get a full-blown experience how to do this. So I'm checking out the tracks because obviously, again, why should I use any maps or anything like that when I can just run around in VR and have a look into the environment? But right now I decided against that because I wanted to see how I can actually exit this very little train station here to get to my destination. So I'm checking where I'm standing, how I can exit. And if you've seen my previous video, you know that I did not really take the best way to get into this station, and I want to do this differently today. So I'm having a bit of a look here how I can exit from D over C to B and then into the southwest tunnel. So everything has been set up. Now I'm thinking, well, you know, the last time I drove, I used quite a lot of fuel. Should I now refuel myself? So I'm walking into this little station. I haven't used that yet. I just saw that when I came into the train station, and I'm thinking, well, I do have this insurance. So maybe because I paid now my fees, the whole thing has been refilled. So this is why I'm jumping back into my old trusted cabin. Just check here the gauges, and I see nope. Obviously have to honk, that is very important. Hasn't been refilled, but I suspect that I do have enough fuel to make this short little trip going south. So I'm ready to go ahead. Wondering why things are moving so slowly, getting a little bit less power, putting a bit of sand on the tracks. I learned about the sand, thinking what should I, and then I remember there's this handbrake, and it's always a very good idea to release the handbrake before you want to get started. Obviously, to be perfectly safe here, I activate the front lights so people know that I'm moving, so that we don't get any accidents. Now I'm checking how far I have to go back into the track I wanted to go into, checking the alignment of that switch just beforehand, and now I see I drove far enough, so I'm just getting ready to set up everything to go into the right track here. This is why I'm setting this one to the left hand side, and now I see a little cat. I think that was a cat running around here, so there is life in this game. We have to be careful with our big trains not to have any accidents with those. And that is obviously, as you know already, why you have to use the horn extensively. Again, I'm making sure that I'm getting into the right track here to pick up the cars that I need to pick up. I'm going to the reverse direction, also releasing the brakes, which is always a good idea, as we just seen, and setting lights into the back as well, so people know that we're moving backwards, and maybe hopefully also the cat, which got out of the way, I hope quick enough. We haven't seen the cat yet again, so I'm sure she'll be tending to her family and they'll all be very safe. Now, because the last time when I approached the cars, I kinda was a bit too fast. I'm trying to regulate this a little bit better now, and this is why I'm using the train brake already, just to approach very, very slowly so that I can get all the juicy cash that I can get from this order, and not lose anything because of any irregularities within the order. Alright, getting to neutral, no power here, everything is set up, so I'm just gonna make sure that I attach the items I need to attach. This is quite cool in VR because you really have the feeling that you're standing in between the cars. Obviously, if you would know how to use the controls, things would go a little bit more smoothly, but then again, I'm trying my best to do everything without so much prior notice. I just have to connect the brake hoses, I think is the correct word, to get any pressure into the brakes, and we have to check that all the handbrakes have been released. It looks good here, looks good on the third car, and on the fourth one I see that I have to release this one. I see a little bump. Things are moving already, so I'm getting back into the locomotive. I'm checking if there's any blinking lights, if there's any indicator that I still have a handbrake on. That's not the case, so I'm just gonna check that I have the right track, that I attach the right cars, and that I'm ready to go. Having a look into the back, and actually I've learned that the numbers of the order are on the cars as well, so I'm doing a quick little cross check to be as professional as I can be in this very case. And I see that I do have the right cars on my locomotive, and now I'm making sure that I know the track and that I know where I need to go. So I'm just gonna pop out the big map and see this is where I'm at. I want to go down this path to the right hand side, left hand side, then to the left, up a bit of a hill, and then into that town. So it looks good. Just remember, I have to go to the right, the left. Just trying to get that into mind. Release the brakes, checking that no handbrake is set, all the gauges are looking fine. Going into forward direction, and there we go. Only thing that I've learned is that you also have to check for slippages, which... There we go. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, mountains. Good morning, everyone else. As I was saying, on the lower, I think it's the ampere meter, you can check if that is going into the red area that you most probably have slippage, and that costs a lot of power and overheats the engine. So I'm making sure that I don't do that, because it would be wise to not overheat the engine and not let it blow. So again, for safety concerns, I do make sure that the backlight now is red and no longer white. People know now where I need to go, and I try to not derail anything, so this is why I'm going right around 30 kilometers per hour, just to make sure that I stay in the track and that nothing will happen. And now, as you can see, I have a brief moment of honking and also a brief moment of real orientation on this map, because I am taking the way outside the area that I used to go into the train station in the last video. I'm just checking right now that I can just go through here, so this signals, there you go, always honk when you're right in the intersection. There you see how you should do that. As I was saying, I do see that I'm now in the right tracks. very interesting here not to see any passengers at all, because the sun has already risen and there are so many high rises around here, but no one actually wants to go here, so I try to wake everyone up, that people know that they need to get to work. Or maybe it's a Sunday, I don't know. I don't own the calendar, it could be anything. But we are ready to go. On the left hand side now that little shed. Maybe I should investigate that actually, how I can refill my trains, my locomotives. Making sure that the truck driver also will get up here, that everyone who will use this transporter crane also is widely awake now and knows that we are ready to roll. And now I remember I can go a little bit quicker into the tunnel. I remember that from the way we were moving in, and now pretty cool. It's just a nifty little feature that there's also reverb here in the tunnel, which makes the necessary honking, because there's a tunnel exit, quite nice for the ears. And there we go. Okay, so rechecking again, because I, for the life of me, cannot remember where I need to go unless I check that every 10 to 15 seconds again and again. Because, believe it or not, this is actually quite interesting if you play this game. There's a couple of things that you really try to keep in mind. So, for example, you try not to overspeed, you try to remember how quick you have to go, try to react to the environment, and that takes actually a bit of attention away from you. So this is why I'm always checking again and again on the map where I need to go, because I have the memory of a squirrel right here and have to recheck every time. So checking here that I'm right about round about 65 already, checking the brakes a little bit, because I know that there will be an intersection going to the right, and I think it was around 60 kph that I need to go there. Obviously I don't look at this signage at all, because that would be foolish, just to know how fast you are allowed to go. No, I just go by my gut. But then again, now I check, I have to go to the right. One little short beep will do it. Now able to go to the right hand side, and I see I can go 60 here. So I release the brake a little bit, let the locomotive flow quite a little bit more, and accelerate so that I use my full potential speed-wise. See, again, there is another intersection here. Just want to make sure that I need to go to, and again, you see I have to check every time that I have to go to the left-hand side. Everything is set up fine, all the brakes are released, I give it a little bit more power, and then, because we are at an intersection, also want to make sure that no one is going into my direction. This is why I honk the horn, and I really suggest you would do the same when you play this game, because that is essentially one of the biggest things that you need to do when being a conductor. Now, getting into the right direction here, again, this is just 60, I'm all clear, everything is working fine, and I'm thinking right now this will be a really short trip, really trying to use the right buttons today, because last time, as you recall, I accidentally jumped out of the train twice, and then I made it back in completely without any damages at all, which was good and helpful to complete the last mission. But now today I'm making sure that I use the right buttons. Again, you can see that I'm very concentrated, checking all the gauges, then everything is in order here, nothing is overheating, and we are firmly in our way to go to our destination. A little bit more power, because I see we do have a little bit more speed here, and as I touch again the brakes and see that nothing has been set without my awareness there, that I might have touched any controls, which is not possible at all, but as I told beforehand, things are right squirrely brainy for me here as we go into the direction of this nice open sea with the bridge in the background. And I appreciate a little bit of that sea. It would be so cool if you can actually dip your feet in there. I might have to check that actually, if I can use any of the environment in any way, shape or form to interact with those things. But now, back on track to concentrate where we want to go. Right, everything is looking fine. I know though, because in my first mission, when I tried this game the first time, I had this was the exact same way I needed to go, and I recall that there's a very sharp corner and then I think also a very steep climb. It was really tough to go through there, so I'm trying to have enough momentum at the right time without having too much speed to get through that whole thing, and I really hope that I will not miss the point in time when I need to brake here. So I see already the marker. Take away a little bit of the power. Right now it's 60. Just want to make sure that I don't overshoot the whole thing. Now look again that I need to go to the left hand side. I check for the switch. Give it a little bit more power because I'm aware of the climb. Check here that everything has been set up right. And now I do the sign. Oh jeez, that is actually 30 that I need to go. So this is why I'm frantically looking for the controls and for the brakes, so I can interact in the right time frame and not derail this train, which would be the preferable method of traveling, to be honest. But everything worked out fine here. That was actually not too bad to go through like this. Now I just saw from the corner of my eye that I need to go 40, and because we need to accelerate a little bit, need to use the horn to make people aware that I'm coming. So now we're going around the corner just to see what expects us there. How big of a speed limit we have here is right about 50. I'm fine. Have to recheck where I need to go. Again, I think I just can follow the tracks here as I'm darting around in that little room of mine to see the environment and see everything that is going on. Now we're in the tunnel right before moving to the last stretch that we need to go through. On this little climb here, I'm releasing all the brakes so that we can move forward quite nicely, and I'm not too quick but also hopefully not too slow. Right now I think we do have no steep climb here, but actually are going downhill a little bit, and this is why I try to use everything in my power, which is in this very case the train brakes and the locomotive brakes, to get to the right speed and then get again a little bit power on so that we can move forward nicely here. So as we are going over this little bridge, I see again that there's a switch coming up, and I see that this might be one of the switches that I need to use to get to the correct track. And since I didn't look beforehand where I need to go, and I don't have the map ready and I don't have the ledger ready, I decide to brake and try to stop beforehand and set everything up that I can deliver everything that I need to deliver in the right place. So I'm looking again at the map because obviously I've forgotten everything already. Decide that it's now really dark out there and I have to switch on the lightings inside the cabin that I can see. And now I decide to have a little look where I need to go, and this is C6I is the identifier of the track. And now I'm a little bit smarter. I know now that I could have a look here, and now I see, wait a minute, I actually need to know already where I need to go, so I decide to not use the ledger and take away power, use the brakes and come to a complete standstill, and now do what I should have done already beforehand check actually where I need to go. So this is C I need to go, so that means I think I'm coming from the northeast corner, which I think I'm not reflecting here, so I jump out and just check the track layout where everything's set up, and I go into the direction where I suspect the correct track might be. This is not the case, it's just a short stop track here. And looking here, okay, that's actually the wrong side of the whole train station. So I'm moving to the other side, and now I'm making sure that I set up everything nicely to go into the right track. And I try to not do the same mistake I did last time in switching the last signal into the wrong direction. So I'm trying to do the right thing here, setting up the correct order, setting up this switch into the right direction, going to the right hand side, and now I want to make sure that everything is correctly set up. Checking again, need to go to the right hand side, left hand side, and I see that this all works out fine. And now I have to check how far backwards I have to drive, just that they can get into the right track, because this signal I have to change, so I have to go a little bit backward to be able to do so. Alright, so set the lever to backward direction, honk the horn so that everyone who is already eating their evening lunch is aware that I'm there and that I'm using my train to go backwards. One big mistake obviously is that I don't use backward lighting. The light is still red and not white, so that's obviously very unprofessional, but I will try to do better next time to be more professional within those deliveries. Alright, so I can come to a stop here. Just check that I need to go the right hand side. Okay, set up everything nicely. Go to the forward direction and pull the lever to go forward. Again, when you're moving, you have to make sure everyone knows about this. So this is why I again use a horn. And I'm actually quite curious how many times I do use the word horn in those videos. So comment below if you have any idea, or you have counted how many times I use the word horn whilst honking. To be friendly and to get good orders, I wave to the first building that comes into my direction, putting away the ledger because I'm firmly sure that I do have set up everything correct and everything nicely. Move forward quite a bit, already applying just a tad bit of the train brake to make sure that we don't overshoot, and also maybe there might be something in those tracks, who knows. Be ready for everything, and this is what I'm doing. Alright, so very slowly creeping into the right track. Everything is looking fine. Everything is moving forward nicely. Try to align myself to the other cargo items left and right. Honk again, because who knows, there might be some worker crossing the tracks that they are aware that I'm right now moving through the whole train yard here. Alright, so I think this is good enough. I'll try to brake now into our stopping position and then get ready to decouple our cars that we have transported here into this little valley. Again, red X, that means that I do press the wrong buttons, but now I do something different than last time. I already take everything with me, apply the brakes fully, put the lever into neutral, shut off the engine, shut off all electronic devices, and obviously bring also the switches back into the correct position, because you never know what the next person who will drive this will do with this. Now setting the handbrake, which was such a hassle in the beginning of this mission, and decoupling the items from the train. I could have sworn that this was the other way around when I started the train, but then, okay, I unlocked that the other way around. Have not closed the pressure valves. I've done that now. I just want to make sure that nothing is rolling around, and this is why I also apply the handbrake here. Now, actually trying to navigate around this lamp post, which seems to be quite of a task for me. I find the right place already, put in my order sheet into, the right slot, which is the lower one, and I get a little bit of cash and my completion form. There we go. So this is around $5,200, and I just want to make sure that I get the right amount. Everything was counted correctly, $5,236.50. So I'm putting this away. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, maybe subscribe if you like to, and I would be really happy if I could see you again here in the future with the next missions and my way forward in DERAIL Valley.